Good day, grade 12 learners. In front of you is Mrs. Mkijima, Subject Advisor for Business Studies. I will be presenting an overview of paper 2. I am continuing from the last lesson that we did. Remember, with paper 2, we have the business ventures and also the business roles. Then, for the ethics and professionalism is one topic that is under the business roles. It means if you will be answering question 3, you need to be knowledgeable or to be well conversant with ethics and professionalism. The first thing that you need to know is to elaborate on the meaning of ethical behavior, and you must be able to give examples of the ethical and also the unethical behavior. With this one, learners, I know it is difficult to make the differentiation because we must also be able to make elaboration on professional behavior. It means you need to differentiate between the ethical and unethical behavior, and also differentiate between the professional and unprofessional behavior. But according to our exam guideline, if you can follow this, you elaborate on the meaning of ethical behavior, you give examples, practical examples of both ethical and unethical. That is not difficult. Then you elaborate the meaning of professional behavior, then you move on to give examples of professional and unprofessional behavior. I think the resources that you are using, they are clear in terms of giving the examples. Just focus on the examples and also the explanation. Don't forget to make a T form so that you are able to make the differentiation. Then you explain how businesses can apply the King Code principle of transparency, accountability, and responsibility. Remember, the King Code principles, we have more than 3 parts for this year and for this examination, and for grade 12. We are focusing on the transparency and also accountability and the responsibility. That is the one what you need to know. How businesses can apply. It's not just name those King Code principles. How they can apply. What is it that businesses must do to make use of transparency? Where you say the business need to be transparent, maybe about the employment policies, they must be transparent to other stakeholders, like employees and what. Then accountability. With the King Code principles, learners, you must focus. I always advise the T format or the tabular format, where you tabulate so that you don't mix. You tabulate and know what are the factors that are under, the facts that are under transparency, what are the facts under accountability, under responsibility. Then you move to ways in which professional, responsible, ethical, and effective business practice should be conducted. This one is a higher order question. It means you need to elaborate the facts here. And also you must be able to identify the following types of unethical business practices from given scenarios. With the identification of those, you need to first to know them. It's unfair advertising, pricing of goods in rural areas, taxation or tax evasion. Bear in mind that these are the unethical, don't confuse the unethical business practices with the unprofessional business practices. The unethical business practices, unfair advertising, pricing of goods in rural areas, taxation or tax evasion, these are committed by the business. This is the business that is committed that has committed this. It's the business that is responsible for advertising. It's the business that is responsible for the pricing of goods. It's the business that must ensure that they pay tax. So don't confuse the unethical practices with the unprofessional practices. Let's come to the explanation of how the above unethical business practices pose a challenge You need to explain each of them, how the unfair advertising poses a challenge, each of those, and also move on to suggest. You must also move on to suggest. What is it that you are suggesting? You are suggesting the ways. You suggest the ways in which the business could deal with each of those. It means, learners, you must be able to know how to address what are the strategies to address the unfair advertising. What are the strategies to address taxation? What are the challenges to address pricing of goods in rural areas? You need to focus when you go through this content, because the misconception is that learners, they will give the unethical when they are asked the unprofessional. Check the unprofessional. The unprofessional ones are the sexual harassment, unauthorized use of funds and resources, and also the abuse of work time. So with this one, you can say who is doing the sexual harassment, who is committing this one. This one is the employees. Unauthorized use of workplace funds is employees, meaning that these are the unethical issues that are committed by the employees, not the business. And also need to address them by suggesting ways to deal with all those. How to deal with sexual harassment, how to deal with unauthorized use of workplace funds, how to deal with the abuse of work time. So that's what you need to know about the ethics and professionalism. Then let's move to the creative thinking and problem solving. It's divided into two. You have the creative thinking part and also the problem solving part. With the problem solving, you must elaborate on the meaning of problem solving and decision making. Then you move on to differentiate between the two. You must be able to differentiate between the two. I know learners, they like this question. Problem solving is done by a team of a group of people, then decision making, it is done by one person. When it appears in an essay, it means you need to elaborate and give more points. Then identify the problem solving steps and also apply the problem steps from given scenarios. Identify the name of the problem solving techniques. The techniques that you are focusing on, the first one is the Delphi technique. The second one, it is the force field analysis, the brainstorming, the nominal group. Don't go to the other ones that are not in the exam guideline, like Scamper, empty chair. I know you like empty chair. Don't focus on those ones. Focus on the Delphi, force field, brainstorming, and nominal group. So we need to check what is it that I need to know with regard to the techniques. You must be able to advise businesses on how they can apply. It means how they can apply is the how part. Advise businesses how they can apply this. It means we are looking into the process of applying the Delphi technique. For instance, if you say the Delphi technique, you must draw questions, you must send the questions to the experts, you must collect the feedback. That is the process, that is the how part. With the force field, is where we are addressing the pros and cons. Then what process are you following? That is the application part, brainstorming. Then you move to the impact. So it means for each of the problem solving, you must know how to apply them, and also what are the advantages and also disadvantage of those problem solving techniques. Then the last part of this one is creative thinking. I think it is very easy, because you will be elaborating on the meaning of creative thinking and also the benefits or advantages of creative thinking, which is not a difficult topic also. And lastly, you must recommend ways in which business can create an environment that promotes creative thinking. So it's only three things that you need to know on creative thinking. It means you will get questions from creative thinking, either the meaning, benefits, or ways. If you can go to the exam room, have thoroughly prepared creative thinking, you will know that the benefits will be there or the ways will be there. It's not too much for the creative thinking. Then let's check the team performance and conflict management. With team performance, we have the first part, that's the team performance assessment. Then there's the second part will be the conflict management. With the team performance, you must be able to outline the interpersonal attitudes, that is the criteria, which is the interpersonal attitude and behavior, shared values, communication, collaboration. Those are the things that you need to focus on. Then let's move to, let's wait, something popped up, okay. Identify the above mentioned criteria from the scenario. You say you have a content. It depends how it will appear on the paper. You outline, then you identify from given scenarios. You explain the characteristics of successful team performance and identify the following stages of team development. I know with the stages, it's easy to recall them. Forming, norming, they have all the ing. Forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning, or mourning. We must be able to, but you cannot be able to identify them if you don't know their explanation. So it means you need to explain those stages of team development. And lastly, for the first part of team performance, you must elaborate on the importance of team dynamic theories. Remember, we are not going back to the team, the theories. We are only focusing on their importance, where maybe you will be saying it will help the business to allocate roles or tasks to the relevant people, looking into their skills that they possess. That one is the team performance. Then conflict resolution, which is the last part of creative thinking. We will have conflict resolution. You discuss the causes of conflict. Then you move on identifying them and advise on how they should handle. It means we are looking for the steps now, for the steps of how to handle conflict. Then you deal with a grievance. Don't confuse the steps of the grievance procedure. Don't confuse the grievance procedure with the steps on how to handle conflict. You handle conflict, then here is the correct grievance procedure. Then coming to the identification of a difficult people. The difficult people or personality is either the person is a complainer, is a person who is indecisive, is a person who is always over-agreeing, negativity, expert, quiet, aggressive. Those are the types of personalities that we have. Then we must recommend different ways in which businesses can deal with the above difficult people or personalities. Then the last one, ways in which the business can deal with difficult employees. Don't confuse this one. This one, don't confuse with this one. With the ways to deal with the negativity, the expert is different when you say the ways in which these businesses can deal with a difficult employee. Let me tell you why. With the last part is where you are suggesting ways to deal with a difficult person, difficult employees. A difficult employee can be a negative person, meaning that you are just generalizing on a difficult employee. Then with this one, you are concentrating in each how to deal with the over-agree, the negative, the expect. I hope you understand that one. Then let's come to the CSR, CSI, that is corporate social responsibility. You define the meaning and also explain the link between social responsibility and triple bottom line. Remember, triple bottom line, I think you know that one, suggests ways in which a business project can contribute towards the community. Identify socio-economic issues like HIV and AIDS, unemployment, poverty. Recommend or suggest ways in which a business can deal with the HIV or with unemployment, with poverty. And the challenge with this question is that mostly learners, they are not focusing when they start this one. It is fine with the HIV. They are fine with HIV, but when it comes to unemployment, they usually swap. You usually swap unemployment and also poverty. Then lastly, you need to suggest ways in which a business can contribute time and effort. Then let's go back. Hey, my things now. Let's go to the another slide for social responsibility. Then with this one, you must elaborate on the meaning of CSR, purpose of CSR, identify or outline components of CSR. There are the components: environment, ethical, corporate, social investment, health and safety. Then identify also CSR programs from given scenarios, explain impact. With the impact, it is not difficult because same information for the CSR you are using for the CSR. It depends whether the impact is it on businesses or is it on community or is it on businesses. Then let's move to the last one now. It was social responsibility. Then the last one, it is the human rights inclusivity and also environmental issues. With this one, in human rights inclusivity and environmental issues, you need to know the human rights, the economic rights, social rights, and lastly the cultural rights. Then for the human rights, the right to privacy, the right to dignity, equity, freedom of speech and expression, information, safety and security, and protection of life. With this one of safety, security, and protection of life, it has to be like that. You can't say the right to safety as a human right. It has to be safety, security, and protection of life. Must be able to identify those from given scenarios and also recommend ways how to deal with them. So that is how you go about with the human rights. Then there are also economic rights where you need to outline the rights of employees in the workplace and also name the social rights in the workplace. With the human rights, we've got more work to do. You name, you identify from given scenarios, you also recommend ways to deal with human rights. But with the economic rights, you outline the rights of employees, you also name for social rights. Then for the social rights and culture, you recommend ways in which the businesses could promote social and cultural rights. Then lastly, you explain the implication of equality, respect, and also dignity. Then that one, it was the human rights. That was the last topic. Then you go through diversity, where we focus on poverty, diversity issues, poverty, race, gender, language, age, culture, or religion. Then you recommend how to deal with the diversity issues. Then when it comes to the environmental factors, responsibilities of employers in promoting, and also the role of health and safety representatives. With all those I do outline, you explain, and also the roles of the employer and also the role of the employees. So that one was human rights, inclusivity, and environmental. Learners, you need to guard against confuses or maybe misplacing your responses. The role of the health and safety representatives are not the same as the role of the employer and the role of the employee. You must make that tabular format where you are able to check which ones are for the employer or for the health and safety representatives and for the employees. I think learners, you are well conversant or knowledgeable with your content and you are ready for the coming examinations. Thank you, goodbye, and also good luck for the coming examination. Thank you.